Okay, well, we can go ahead and get started. It's right at 11. Let's see, what is today? Friday, June the 3rd, 2022. I'm John Lee, and we're here with with St. Louis Real Estate Investors Association and with a lot of other of our valued members and valued board members.
Well, the whole thing just went away and came back with everybody muted.
Dwayne, you're having some issues, I think. So, okay, well, we're here with Miss Katharyn Davis, and she's going to update us on what's going on in the legal world here around the area. So welcome, Kathy.
Hi, everybody.
You can't hear me?
I have a couple of things right off the top. First of all, John has kindly posted in the chat for me a link to a resource that's quite long about small lenders and servicers. And I know that some of you had questions about that area. So rather than go over a couple hundred pages with you, and frankly, I didn't even have time to read it all myself. I thought I'd provide that resource for you and everybody could look up their own questions. And then if you have further issues with that, we could discuss it at a future thing. Jennifer's saying, where is the link? John put it in the chat. So wherever the chat is, and I'm not seeing it right now on mine, but usually there's a thing at the bottom where you can click. And I see that there's a little white one in a red square down there, which to me means that there's something in the chat, right? Chat. Oh, that's Jennifer saying, where's the link? Oh, there, John just posted it.
Yeah,
Okay,
where
there
Jennifer
we
said,
go.
where's the link? And I agree. I don't see it either.
Zoom works now is if you show up, attend after the link is in there, you don't see the previous chat. So, because I've had that in another meeting I was in this week. So it should be there now.
Okay, good. I can see it now.
Okay, thanks.
And I'm usually, the slow pony when it comes to the technological stuff. So, okay, the second thing is, many of you have asked me about Berkeley. Berkeley's limitation on rental houses, which we all knew that when they did that was going to be stupid. But for those of you who don't know, Berkeley put a limitation on no more than 30 houses in a block that could be used for rental property. So now nobody can sell any property in Berkeley, and there's stuff that's declining and that kind of thing. In any event, I want you all to know that this Monday night at the Berkeley City Council meeting, I was just informed by Charlie Hinterleiter, the guy from the Realtors, that Berkeley is going to be considering repealing this ordinance. And he was reaching out to me to see if I knew anybody who might like to go to that meeting and speak. I would encourage you, if you're interested in Berkeley, you have property in Berkeley, or you just think in general that this is a bad idea, that you show up at the Berkeley City Council meeting and encourage them to repeal that ordinance. I think it's one of those ordinances that would possibly fall if they got sued because it's clearly discriminatory, et cetera, et cetera. But and I also think, like I said, I don't think it's worked out for them, because I've heard from so many people about the values of their property are declining, they can't sell them and that kind of thing. I just had a client who's trying to settle an estate for his father, and my poor guy's out of town and this property is not worth very much, but nobody will buy it because they can't rent it because it's in Berkeley. So please, if you can, get yourselves to Berkeley on Monday night, or if you can't get there on Monday night, maybe ahead of time, call the city hall and, express your support for repealing the ordinance limiting rental properties on a block. Okay, so, and that will be easier and cheaper than hiring somebody to sue and getting kicked around in the courts for a long time. And I'm not doing that kind of litigation right now because of all the other stuff that's going on here. I just don't have time to take it on. So it would be great if they would just repeal it. And then maybe some of these other municipalities would learn a lesson about restricting rental properties and, licensing them and that kind of thing. That's not really a good business practice. Okay, so my counties are all kind of the same as they were before. St. Louis County, our division is going to fully in person next week. I'll believe it when I see it. I feel like there's going to be somebody who's still going to get the WebEx code for the judge and want to show up remote and that kind of thing. And Christine is kind of feeling like, so what? that's too bad for them. And I'm kind of feeling like, yeah, maybe we should be prepared, because otherwise they're just going to come pop back into court several days later and ask for the judgment to be set aside because they couldn't get there because they had COVID or the dog ate their homework or whatever, and they couldn't show up. It's big news for us though that they're going back more and more to in person, because it's much easier for us to deal with the dockets and deal with the people and everything when they show up in person. Among other things, we're learning way more and more about our defendants than we wish we knew when they're calling in on video from their homes or their cars or their bathrooms or in their pajamas or yelling at their kids or driving down the street or smoking or drinking or both, which may be the reason why they're not paying their rent, because they're getting drunk at 9 a.m. But who knows? They can't mute, they can't unmute. It's I think the judges are being driven nuts by it. Judge Medler is very happy to be going to in person. In the city is the one laggard here. They have continued to have the remote option. It's really a problem in the city, because in the city there seems to be a higher degree of people who don't have camera enabled phones, aren't able to access the video, are not as sophisticated about getting online. So it really makes it difficult to deal with some of the people. They are requiring motions and trials in the city to be in person. So if the person calls up remotely in a fashion that we can't talk to them, then they have to show up within a couple of weeks in person, which I don't see how that benefits them. And half the time they don't show up anyway. But that's our last bastion holdout of the presiding judge not wanting to make everything go in person. I will say that other levels of court, circuit court, and that kind of thing, are still pretty frequently in doing it remote. I had a hearing in front of a circuit judge in St. Louis County yesterday, where she was appearing from her basement with a nice backdrop to just do attorney-only motions. And that's not so bad, because the attorneys, we generally have the equipment. We can figure out how to get on and off. We're making our legal arguments. But as far as the testimony things, or the things where the court has to judge the veracity of a witness, those really need to be in person. And we need to get those in person pretty consistently as soon as possible. In fact, the Missouri Supreme Court just appointed me to another committee that's going to study these issues. If anybody has any input on that, at some point, not quite yet, because we haven't even met yet, but at some point, I think I might be asking you to share that with me if you've had experience with remote court or that kind of thing, and what you think. That's pretty much all I have new. Berkeley, please, I'd appreciate it. Check this link in the chat for a big long pamphlet giving you information about small lending and small servicing. And does anybody have any questions?
Kathy, when was that meeting in Berkeley? When is that?
It's this Monday.
This Monday. Okay.
And I want to say it's at 6:30, but I would encourage you to double check that.
Okay.
And I'm told by Charlie that it's an in-person meeting. I'm not sure if there's a Zoom option. I couldn't find anything like that on their website, but maybe there is.
Thank you.
Okay, everybody.
Looks like Amber's got her hand up. I'm not sure.
Oh, Amber has
got
her
the
hand up?
question.
Okay.
Thanks, Jim. Yeah, I do have a question. So Kathy, I had I'm proceeding, I guess, step one with an eviction, and I sent a notice to quit to a tenant. So just a little bit of the background. She had taken over the lease from her uncle who was living there, and I had to send him a notice to quit because he hadn't paid rent, and I just wanted to prepare in case I had to evict him. Well, she signed for it. Excuse me. She signed for it, and that was back in, I think, November. Long story short, the uncle passed, and so she's stayed there since the November timeframe. And she's paid, but she hasn't paid the last like 3 months. So speed up to this last week, actually, I sent her a notice to quit. Well, because she signed for the uncles, she declined my notice to quit to her, or she rejected it, right? Because I sent it certified mail. When you send a notice to quit, is that good enough showing that it was sent and it was rejected, or does she actually have to see it to be, I don't know what the word is, but official?
Is this property in Missouri?
It is in Missouri, yes.
I don't send notices to quit in Missouri because they're not required. Under Missouri law, all you have to show is that you made demand for the rent. And the lawsuit for rent and possession is considered sufficient demand for the rent. So you don't have to do that. Some of our clients use those notices to quit or 5-day notices, or, you know, things that they grab from Illinois or whatever. I don't object to you using them as a collection tool, but you don't have to use it. And so therefore it doesn't matter whether she refused service of it or not. You've made demand for the rent's due, you can file for a rent and possession.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else? Okay, guys, have a great weekend. I'll see you. Our next meeting, it doesn't conflict with 4th of July, right?
Let's take a look.
Yeah.
It would be, well, it depends on when you celebrate, but July 1st
July 1st?
is the Friday. Yeah.
Yeah, July 1st works for me if it's okay for you guys.
Yeah, we'll be here every Friday regardless of what it is.
Okay.
Yeah. So thank
right.
you.
Make some deals.
Thank you
See
so
you
much,
soon.
Kathy. We appreciate
Okay.
you as always very much.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Yeah, appreciate it.
So I got a question for Amber. Amber, is your eviction in the city? It's in the city of St. Louis, or is that the one in Kansas City?
Kansas City. It's
Okay.
always my Kansas City property causing me problems.
Well, I was going to tell you, Lord and I are buddies now with Sheriff Betts. He was there yesterday, and we talked to him, and he gave he was a special guest at Mr. Landlord, and he gave a little talk on evictions, and then Lord and I kind of talked to him on the side a little bit as he was waiting, and he seemed like a pretty nice guy, and he's actually towards the landlord's side. He said he used to be a property owner and a landlord and things like that. So I just thought I'd throw that in there.
Well, that's good to know. You never know who's on your side. Obviously, like I said, in this case, she just has not paid rent, and it's always a sob story about why, well, this happened, that happened, and none of this is Amber's fault. So you just didn't plan accordingly, and as a result, you have to go. So sounds like I need to go ahead and file that rent in possession. So
yeah.
Yep. Sounds that way.
Yeah, I just thought I'd mention, like I said, he's not gonna do anything without a court order, but he was on the side of the landlord, and yeah, he told some couple good stories. I don't know if Lloyd wants to say anything.
Mhm. Yeah, no, yeah, he did. In fact, he was there to receive. Mr. Landlord he received a check for $1,000 because they haven't been getting the support they need from the mayor's office to fund the equipment that they need to do their job. And I guess we both seen Sheriff Betts on the news over the last couple of years. He's been featured a lot, having to negotiate with between the tenants and the landlords, and that caught Mr. Landlord's attention. And since he was coming to St. Louis anyway, thought this would be a good. Well, he was one of the awards that passing on, doing something better for the community. He gave him a check issue for $1,100, and he also mentioned, while we're on that, he also gave a check for, was it $450? I think it was, or $350 to one of Kira Maley's tenants. Apparently, he had sent out a letter to. I know Kira is one of Mr. Landlord's. She follows him. She's usually at all his conventions in the past. But he sent out an appeal for, if you have a deserving tenant that's been trying to do good but just had some hard luck over the last 3 years, submit him. And she submitted one of her tenants, and he was selected and awarded because he was struggling. She knew he was struggling all the time during the pandemic, but he still paid the rent every month.
mm-hmm.
He knew it was important, and he paid the rent every month. And she recognized that he was really making a good effort, and he and his daughter showed up and received a check for, I think it was either $350 or $400.
Yeah, I don't remember, something like that. Yeah.
Somebody added some additional funds to it the night before, and Mr. Landlord was going to had a definite. I think it was $250 he was going to do, and then somebody else
kicked in the night before, kicked in another $100 toward that, and the check toward the sheriff's too. So
I mean, that's really nice, especially for the tenants. I mean, there's just so many out there who try and run a game. They think the landlords have unlimited funds, but there are some good ones who just have fallen upon hard times. That's someone I'm willing to work with. My
Oh, yeah.
tenants tend to just, oh yeah, I'm not paying you. Why?
Yeah,
I work with everybody, right? And getting 1 month behind, okay. But even if you pay me, I mean, this is a recorded call, but my tenants don't know it. Even if they pay $20, that is showing you're doing something. A lot of them stopped answering their phone and then they just pay nothing. And that's not, if you're showing me you're doing something, I can work with you. But
sure. Yeah, I've done the same. I've only had one of my tenants that really was struggling. He was had his own business and lost some clients during the pandemic, and so he was struggling. But I said, hey, just don't tell me. He told me once, he said, I can't pay the rent. Well, okay, you can't pay the whole rent. What can you? And we came to an agreement. Yeah, if you pay a portion showing that you're trying, I'll work with you. And he did, and they finally got caught up. It took a couple months, but they did. So that's the best. They were good tenants, so I wanted to keep them. So boy, that's one of the things that Kathy's been advising over the last 3 years too. If you got somebody that's a good tenant, just following a hard time, do what you can, work with them. Don't try to get it back on track. That's the best policy.
yeah, well, maybe I need to go talk to the sheriff in Kansas City and become friends.
He'll become friends. Yeah. See if he knows Vernon Betts. Tell him you're a friend of Vernon Betts in St. Louis. And he can maybe he'll cooperate with you. Oh, what's everybody else got doing here today? Anybody?
Just a thought, is that sheriff still at Mr. Landlord today where she'd save a trip to Kansas City?
Oh, no.
That was just a one-time deal. Okay, whatever.
Yeah, he just showed up
Okay.
for the award that he was, when they presented that. It was a portion of the Mr. Landlord's presentation when Jeffrey Taylor had a kind of a closing segment right before lunch, I think it was. No, I'm assuming nobody else is going to Mr. Landlord today, since you're here, unless you went yesterday and you're going back tomorrow like myself. I'll be manning our table in the lobby along with Amber tomorrow. So we'll get to listen in on some of the sessions when we're not manning the table. But yeah, what's everybody got going? Got anything to sell? Looking to buy something today?
I think so. The landlord, was there a speaker called named Paul Disney?
Your video or your audio isn't coming in real good.
Oh, wow.
Unless somebody else caught the question.
Is that any better?
Yeah, that's better. That's better.
So if you went to Mr. Landlord, did anybody see a gentleman by the name of Paul Disney?
Paul, the name was right. Was he one of the presenters?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Did not catch his presentation yesterday.
Yeah, I think he was the one before Vernon, because Vernon kept saying something about Paul this and Paul that, if I remember right.
Yeah. Right. That's right. He was.
Yeah.
Just curious because he's a real good friend of mine. He's a property manager out of Springfield and very knowledgeable. So.
Okay. Anybody got anything else? Everybody else?
So John Lee, guess who was there? Greg West and his wife were there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We talked to him a few times, and I told him that Jim Heiser and Pat were going to be there today, so he was going to stop by the table again today and talk to them.
Oh, fun.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I'd still like to get him to come and talk to our group and see what, just to kind of update and see what's going on with him.
Okay,
Mhm.
well,
He's easily recognized. In fact, Jim spotted him from the back. He saw a guy wearing bib overalls at the registration desk and said,
Yep.
Yeah.
I said, well, it's got the right uniform on, but I turned around and said, yep, that's Greg. His signature dress. He's always wearing bib overalls.
yep, always.
Mhm. But no, yeah, I don't have anything else in particular. Anybody else wants to talk about anything? What's going on? You got anybody else doing some deals?
The upcoming events too.
Oh, sure. Okay. Yeah, we didn't do that yet.
We have a couple of pretty good events coming up. I know it's to get all the information together. It's taken a little bit longer than normal. I guess it's a sharp month or a long month or a holiday. I'm not sure what, but we do have JT Fox coming in on a special exclusive, actually Zoom meeting next Tuesday, or a week from Tuesday, I'm sorry, on the 14th. That will be at 6:30 Central Time here. JT, he's one of my coaches, but he's the #1 business and wealth coach in the world. He's made hundreds of millions of dollars in real estate. I'm sure he's going to talk about that because he's coming to our real estate group. I enjoy going to him and watching all the deals they put together. And, what's really nice is he I don't know what he's going to do, but he'll probably offer you a seat at the table to sit in on some of the meetings coming up. And what's fun for me is just to see how some of these big guys work, and so it's, that's pretty interesting. We also have on the 21st, Sandy Rubin from Flair Staging. She's going to show us what all we need to do and how they stage the houses so you can sell them for top dollar and quicker, which is very, very, very great information. I know Jan Duke, one of our valued members, she uses them, and I think she actually brought them to us originally. I know Jim Heiser too, our former president. He's the one that actually talked to her within the last few months to get her to come and talk to our group. So that's been a little challenging to get everybody together. I know there's a lot going on right now, but that's a couple of things we do have coming up. That be sure to mark your calendars and your schedules. I know on JT Fox, there will not be a full recording available like there are with most of our meetings. So you do want to attend that live. Sandy with Flair Staging, we will go ahead and have that on our, we'll have the Zoom meeting live again too, but we will have a recording of that. But it's always, as you know, best to attend live if at all possible. And we are on location now too at the Moolah Center. So if you can make it on the 21st, I highly would encourage you and recommend it because it's much better in person. But she's got a really great presentation she's putting together, and keep an eye out for your newsletter, which will be out, within probably the next few days.
Yeah.
Within the next week. I just got corrected.
Yeah, within the next week, say.
I'm sorry. So yeah, I know. I'm getting crazy.
So.
JT Fox.
Yeah, now just the JT Fox is a Zoom only. If you can catch that, that's he's
The JT Fox thing, John, is that a Zoom meeting? Yeah.
Yes, it is. And
Okay.
let me go find the link and I'll put it in here for you. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a special Zoom only meeting, and it's not going to be recorded. So, but the Flair presentation with Sandy Rubin is that's our regular third Tuesday meeting. We'll have if you're there in person on location, we'll have refreshments and have more training material.
And it's going to
fresh books
be
and everything.
in your newsletter you're about to send out.
Yeah, I think they both should be in the newsletter that's coming out, and you should get some email from Diana too. I think, yeah, she'll be sending that out shortly if she hasn't done it already.
John, an odd question, but I've noticed your evil twin has been on the calls here the last couple of Zooms, where it's just a picture and of you and you're in second place. Is there a reason for that? Does that make any sense?
Just to have the extra connection, because a few weeks ago we had a problem with Wi-Fi, so I just had an extra one on there just so we didn't lose
okay.
it. If I lose one, I won't lose the other.
Okay, well,
My twin is not as evil as he may look. He's usually a pretty nice guy, and he wants to help with the technical stuff. But thanks for
okay.
asking.
All right.
He's your backup support, huh? Yeah.
Yes.
That's your evil twin.
So Dwayne, I just sent you an email with the PDF copy of what Kathy sent out, so you don't have to try to download it if you're having trouble downloading it. I sent it to your wish no more, I get whatever email.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it, Jim.
No problem.
I just put the link for JT Fox in there
Okay,
too. I didn't put a description, but that's where you can register
Send
right
that
there.
too. Yeah,
Yeah, John, about how long a
Gotcha.
talk is he going to be, do you think, on the 14th?
It won't be very long. I'll
okay.
almost
Thank
guarantee
you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna be at the Cardinals game, so I'll try to listen to it off on the side somewhere for if it's just gonna be a few minutes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, Dwayne. I think Dwayne has the Wi-Fi stuff issues I had a couple weeks ago. He's fading in and out, and that's what was going on with me. That's why my evil twin has to show up for backup support. Yeah, Dwayne needs an evil twin, maybe. I think he might have froze up again.
Yeah, he's frozen again.
Okay, well.
Mine looks good from my end.
Okay. Well, if nobody else has anything, I guess, let's see, Jennifer dropped off and she didn't have anything additional.
Yeah, we're working on doing she had some things she was telling me earlier on some short-term rentals and Airbnb. And there's some real interesting lessons she learned with hers. Like she had we were just kind of briefly talking about this, but she had some surfers that rented her place from California in Washington, DC, and they mailed themselves some drugs. And while she was down in Florida, she got a call from the sheriff who had already, I guess it was the sheriff, but they had already torn her whole place apart, tore apart walls and ceilings and all kinds of stuff. And she found out also she didn't have the right kind of insurance. So we're going to look at putting together maybe something. We're trying to find somebody that's a little bit more knowledgeable in Airbnbs, but she's done this for many, many years, the short-term rental. So it was kind of interesting talking to her because I guess you got to know your renters the same way, even on short term sometimes. So
yeah,
you're responsible.
Yeah, and I think Airbnbs are getting a little bad rap because I know everything, all commotion down on Washington Avenue. That a lot of that has been, at least the local residents are blaming it on Airbnb customers, people that owners of the lofts down there renting out to short-term rentals, and those are supposedly the bad element that has crept into the area. I see Reggie. Reggie's got his hand up. You got something, Reggie? Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, I know that you all are about to close up the meetings. I want to say this before you all close it up. I've got a contract for sale. I'm looking to sell I got a house on Vernon, 5031 is the address. It's a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 2-story home, about 1,800 square feet. The owner just moved out of it about a month ago, so it's livable, it's airtight, watertight. It just needs to be rehabbed and updated. If anyone is interested, please let me know. I'll put the details and the contact information in the chat box.
Okay. Okay, house on Vernon. 5031 Vernon. Anybody interested? Contact Reggie.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna hop right back in real fast. I just forgot. I'll be down there this afternoon. I've got a few folks that are interested. So I'll be down there this afternoon about 1 o'clock, 1 or 2 o'clock, showing some folks. So if you want to show up ahead of time or after that time, if you think maybe you're interested and want to swing by, I'll be there already. If you want to come by and take a look at it.
Okay. And why don't you just give your phone number verbally here, so it'll be on our recording. So somebody
Sure.
that today.
314-308-2747. Area code 314-308-2747. And I can be reached at 7 Investments LLC, all spelled out, at Gmail. 7 Investments LLC at Gmail. But I'll put all the details and contact information in the chat.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Hey, Lloyd, I had a question.
sure. Go ahead.
And I probably should have asked when Kathy was on, but curious. I saw the report on the news about that apartment complex who had given their tenants like 30 days to move out. And more specifically, one of the tenants kind of said, oh, you know, my lease isn't up until like October or sometime. I thought that was illegal. I thought you had to see people's lease all the way through. So just curious if any, I guess, landlord has dealt with that. I'm wondering why that was, or I'm sure they're probably just trying it just to see if they can get away with it. They probably won't be because now it's on the news, but is that not illegal?
I would not think so. Even if it was a new owner or something that came in, that they're obligated to honor existing leases that were signed by the previous owner. So even if you took over a new property, you're still obligated. I don't know if does Dave Soto have anything comment on that? Have any experience?
No, that's accurate. I mean, the new owner can buy them out if they want to do that. That's an option to offer pay for their move or whatever, so they can take possession. But other than that, yeah, they have to honor at least. They're not going to be able to evict them or anything. So
Yeah, I could see it if they wanted to, renovate the units or something that, they could offer some kind of a buyout to buy them out of their lease. That would be another option. But
Yeah, I just have a feeling that they probably are, or tried to send those letters out, did not realize their ramifications. And, you know, maybe they thought because this is probably, I'm assuming, a lower income apartment complex, they were going to get away with it. And I say this as a landlord, that's not okay. I mean, giving those people 30 days, like I said, specifically that lady that I saw on the news did have a lease. And she said, you know, give me 30 days, that's not enough time. And I agree. They should have given more notice, or at least you know, given them money to move something. But
yeah, no, I didn't hear that story. I could have been out of town and not out of touch. I'm unplugged from the local news here, so didn't hear about that one. But anybody else got any comments or? Anything else to add to today's discussion?
Have an awesome week. I've got to go.
Okay. We'll see you, Dwayne. Anyway, guess we'll all be back here next week, and then again on the two other gatherings we got on the 14th and the 21st of this month. So look forward to seeing you next Friday and at the future events. Everybody, have a great week.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Bye-bye.